All right, welcome on in everyone to this episode of First CSP, the channel dedicated to bringing you the first council shoulder patch issued from each council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today we're going to take a look at Cape Cod and Islands 224 out of Massachusetts. Council originally formed in 1981 as a name change from Cape Cod 224. There are actually two variations of the first issue. When you look at more recent guides, they've merged those together as just the S1, but previously it was designated as S1A and S1B. We have those as well as the second issued CSP to take a look at today. So let's head on over to the patch table, and here we have the S1A first issue for Cape Cod and Islands with its yellow border. They list this as a pale gray sky. We've got yellow fleur-de-lis on the bottom, red letters for Cape Cod and Islands and the state of Massachusetts, and it is denoted as the A variant, specifically with thick waves and thick seagulls. So we'll compare that with the B here in a moment, but that is the S1A. It is plastic backed. We will see a bit of difference in the coloration of the background gray, which is also listed as slightly different for the S1B. And I would also note that the colors of blue for the water in the thread are also a bit different. Let's throw up the S1B onto the patch table. So the S1B, also having a yellow border, is now listed as having a light gray sky. So it is different from the pale gray. Those designations in isolation can not be all that helpful, other than you know that it is going to be a different color of gray. We still have the yellow fleur-de-lis and the red letters. They do list the stitching in the background is going to be more coarse than the S1A. Also, they're noting that the waves are much thinner, as well as the gulls are slightly thinner. Taking a look at the back, pretty similar, still a plastic backed patch for the S1B. Let's get both of the patches here on the table. It's a little easier to make those comparisons. So we see that the gray is certainly much darker for the background in the S1B. That is what's listed as light gray, whereas kind of the shinier, whiter gray is going to be pale gray for the S1A. You do see a distinct difference in the wave thickness. So the thicker waves is the S1A, the thinner waves is going to be the S1B. They say that the gulls are also thinner here on the S1B. That's not as pronounced to me as it is with the waves. I think that's kind of the one part to key off on. Also, you can see kind of the letter stitching is a bit thicker or bolder here in the S1A. And as I said, there's no distinction made in the descriptions, but you're going to find this to be a much darker royal blue for the water on the S1A, and it does appear a bit lighter in the S1B. That's the two variations on the first issue for Cape Cod and Islands. They then reprised this kind of scene with the water and a boat and a lighthouse in their second patch, so the S2, and we'll just throw that up so you can see it. Here is the Cape Cod and Islands S2, same gray background and blue water with a boat. Now the boat says BSA and is a much older style boat with a large, it's almost kind of like they took the previous scene and then zoomed in on where the lighthouse was on the left hand side, but it does kind of follow a similar theme. So here with yellow border, light gray sky, BSA here over here on the boat, black fleur-de-lis up here in the corner, white name. It is a design change specifically from the first issue, but it does follow similar themes, so I thought it would be fun to kind of show you the S2 as well. S2 does end up being a much larger patch. Put the S2 towards the bottom, see if we can fit that S1A up here at the top. So they're playing on the same themes, just kind of updating the patch there as they went. So that is the first issue for Cape Cod and Islands 224 out of Massachusetts. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. We will, of course, be back tomorrow with another new episode here on First CSP. Feel free to peruse any of our previous episodes anytime you want on the channel, 24/7 on YouTube. Thank you all for stopping in and supporting the channel. Really do appreciate it. Until next time, hope you guys have a great rest of your day.